Welcome to our special episode of Exit Only Theater Podcast. Woo! Today we are doing the award season preview, and we have our biggest panel yet. 3 people.
Yeah.
Our second biggest panel. I'll take that back.
Yeah, that's true. We had a pretty big panel.
We had a big panel once.
We
don't need that many people now. We have enough mouths to feed now.
We've got a trio.
I am Adrian Alderete, sitting next to
JP Leigh.
And sitting next to
Jonathan Fisher,
who's sitting next to me. So that means I'm talking. So.
We bought a triangle table just for this
event. Yep,
yes.
Absolutely. The visual of this is ridiculous.
I'm trying to think of a good triangle joke.
Nope.
No
Bill geometry jokes.
Yes, Bill Jackson. We're running the triangle here. Alright, so basically what we're going to do today is we're breaking down the award season. Now that September is officially over, and it's October now, that means we're in award season. JP Leigh's favorite season.
Oscar bait season.
Basically means we get, for us, big budget movie guys are like, this is where all the serious movies come. Where there's no smiling involved.
This is where we hibernate.
And all the artful sex happens. So that means we get to see Kate Winslet instead of Kate Beckinsale.
Blue is the warmest color.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's
a
slightly dated, but still
yes.
Good joke.
That's the yes.
He's like taking an artful sip. He's like, I'm just gonna.
Right, but we are excited to break this down because obviously, as lovers of movies, this is where this is where the real discussion happens. No longer about which movie was more badass. It was which movie actually deserves to win an Oscar, the trophy that means it all.
But yes.
All right, so basically, we're gonna go around and we're gonna list our most anticipated films from here until now. Here until Oscar ceremony. Speaking is Adrian. All right. So first, we're gonna go around the table. This is the worst talking I've ever had. All right. I don't talk much. All right. We're gonna start off with JP Leigh. Start off with your most anticipated films here going forward.
All right, I'll start off. I won't just list everything. I'll start one and we can discuss.
Going rogue. I don't like it.
I think the film that I am most excited to see at this current state right now is Steve Jobs. I think that the idea of having Danny Boyle and Aaron Sorkin work together on a film is incredibly enticing. Okay. And Michael Fassbender is one of the biggest rising stars creatively and as a blockbuster kind of action star. So I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to, and I'm kind of excited because it comes out very soon. So
yeah, it's like combining like Slumdog Millionaire and Shame. It's just like
but also with a Social Network vibe. So
Slumdog Shame.
They're gonna talk a lot.
Shame Dog
really
Millionaire. The story of Steve Jobs. Shame Dog Millionaire. Hashtag, have that trending.
I mean, come on. Now.
So what's your favorite? What do you think is what's your most anticipated movie?
I see Steve Jobs so bad.
Steve
so
Jobs.
bad.
You gotta pick something else.
Okay, if I have to pick something else, then I'll have to go with Hateful Eight.
Ooh,
Tarantino.
The Christmas Day release. Why is that?
The bloody Christmas Day release. Yes. Just because, huge Quentin Tarantino fan.
Yeah, that's all
no,
it
honestly,
takes.
no, that's all it
Pretty
is.
transparent.
Think about it. Last movie he made, Django, came out around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Big hit. Big hit for a December movie.
And I like that it seems like he's confining his characters for a certain amount of the film, which I'm really enticed by because it allows him to write something crazy.
Yeah, because they're all in the, basically, they're going to be in just the cabin the entire time.
Very Reservoir Dogs-esque.
That sounds very cool. Mm-hmm. Like, the Reservoir Dogs set in a Western style
in like a snowstorm
setting.
Even though your least favorite Quentin Tarantino movie is Death Proof, and that was pretty much like contained around like 5 girls.
Yeah, I don't think that film's that good.
I like that.
It was fun.
It's like it's obviously one of his weaker ones.
It's us high-fiving.
That's just arbitrary.
Death Proof.
They're doing it just to
What's
take
up?
sides.
Alright, welcome to the Men's Only Podcast.
Great story.
All right.
And what is yours, Adrian?
My most anticipated, I was looking through this list because I put together a list of these 8 teen movies, and I thought about it.
Ridiculous list going.
It's a big list, but the one I tried to kid myself, but it has to be The Revenant. It has to be The Revenant.
That's a good point.
For me, not only just the hype of is this DiCaprio's first Oscar finally? Mm-hmm. Is you pair him up with Tom Hardy again, and they were pretty much awesome in Inception together when they first hooked up.
Yep.
And now you get the defending champ in González Iñárritu for director, defending his title as best director, following up Birdman with this movie, and with everything that was going on with the production, saying, "Oh, it was all hell." Then all of a sudden you see the trailer and you're like, bear fights, oh, kid's dead, buried alive, looking for Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy has a beard. Leo has a beard.
Pretty intense.
What the hell's going on? That looks exciting. I'm like, I can't wait.
I think what also makes it really enticing for me is that as the months have gone by, it's developed into is this going to be a little bit of a shit show? Like, it might actually not be as good. Yeah, it might actually be disappointing, which it's like maybe a 5% chance, but it's better than the 0% chance it had 6 months ago. So I'm kind of enticed by, like, the good and the bad of it.
Like a 10-minute scene of just Leo, like, eating dirt to get him out of a grave or something.
Well, yeah, that's also very Tarantino. Like, just punching the box to get out.
But you hear that, JJ? No one likes your Star Wars.
Oh, God.
That's not true.
Is there any that... Are there any films that just missed your most anticipated? Is there one that you were like, yeah, but this one takes the cake? And that's non-Star Wars related.
I think in terms of the awards season buzz, I think I'm really excited to see Spectre, but I don't think it's going to fit into the overall realm of, like... I don't think it's going to take the cake in a bunch of different categories. I think it'll actually get nominated for, I assume, cinematography and a few other things. Yeah. I just didn't think it had enough going for it in the awards realm. Yeah. So that's probably why I didn't make my cut. Yeah. But
what about you?
Me, I think the one that I was thinking that I also most anticipated for me, if there was a number 2, it honestly it would probably have to be Crimson Peak. I know that one probably doesn't have the legs for it, but at the same time, it's just like a Guillermo del Toro movie that is coming out in Oscar season. That's his first legit del Toro movie since Pan's Labyrinth. Exactly. I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm very much excited for that movie, but I just don't know if it's going to have the legs in award season. Yeah. Just for me as a moviegoer in October to see a scary film, I'm so excited for it. Jonathan, you want to get us to the next category, or do you have...
man.
So, what do you guys think is the most hyped movie?
Is hyped in a good way or hyped in a bad way?
I meant this, like, when I drew this up, I meant it in a bad way, where it's like, it's being so hyped that you're like, these are the ones that people are assuming are going to be the favorites, but there could be a letdown.
I'm going to say The Revenant.
Okay.
Like, I'm really looking forward to it, but at the same time, like we just discussed, it might be a shit show. Like, we went and saw The Martian and Sicario, like, back to back, and they had one trailer for The Revenant that was an old trailer and one a new one, and I feel like they don't even, like, really know what they're doing for, like, promotional
stuff. That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
And it's just, like, I don't know.
How much do they want to sell early on? Yeah, I'm in the same boat where I'm still really intrigued to see it, but now my reasons for it have changed, so I think that the circumstances surrounding that movie are interesting.
The Revenant, and it's very interesting to point out that when you watch the trailer, especially the second one, you're like, oh man, this is going to be a revenge movie, all this stuff.
You get a much better sense of the plot, for sure.
Yeah, you get a better sense of the plot, but it's like, you also have to remember that this guy, González Iñárritu, doesn't really tell... he won't tell a revenge story the way Tarantino will tell a revenge story.
True.
So for an audience perspective, you may not get that satisfaction in necessarily the same way. It might be something where you watch it and you're just like, feeling like really just not good at the end of it, and I think for critics that's going to be a big no-no, and I think that's where that's just my assumption.
Do you just think in terms of it being like an unsatisfactory ending or ambiguous? Because that was like the big knock on Birdman, was the ending was really ambiguous.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like that's why I don't think
resolution's not going to be there.
As far as like with that's concerned, if he does something similar like that story structure wise, I don't think he'll get away with it again. I hope I'm wrong, because the second trailer, if the movie's like the second trailer, I can't wait. If it's like the first trailer, it looks interesting, but it looks more like an art house film.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. I think visually it's very art house, but I think the story might be very straightforward.
Can I say one quick thing?
No, yeah, go right
You
ahead.
said the director's the same as Birdman, right?
Yeah.
It's so weird that he went from, like, directing a movie that's all based in, like, inside a studio to, like, completely vast open land.
I feel like and that's also something that kind of worries me a little bit, is, like, is he making creative choices for the sake of making creative choices? Like, I did this, now let me go do the exact opposite. Yeah. If you don't have the right reasons for doing that, it could
That's
be
a good point, and... Because, for those of you that don't know, he's shooting this film completely all outdoors and using only natural light.
Literally the exact
which is very difficult, and especially from a production perspective. And
he's doing it in one take.
Yeah, and like he never... It's probably they're probably gonna try to pull that shit.
There will be a lot of long takes, I'm sure.
The one thing I'm kind of worried about, and when you guys bring that up, is... he's not been on record saying why he wanted to shoot when using only natural light. Yeah. It's just like, it's a creative choice. It's a movie to make it look more real. I'm like, I wonder.
Is that enough? Is the question.
I'm like, whoever you got to finance your movie, more power to you. I know you won the Oscar and you trust you. And believe me, as a fellow Mexican, I'm glad you're doing whatever you want. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, Man, I hope you nail this because it would be
You're
nice.
in trouble if you
it would
bring
be
this
very
much
cool.
money.
For me, I think the most hyped movie in a negative way. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think it's Hateful Eight.
Okay.
Like I know it hasn't really been hyped at all, to be honest with you. But the thing is, like, when people say it's like, oh, Hateful Eight, oh, it's gonna be awesome.
It's already a shoo-in for everything.
It's always gonna be a shoo-in for everything. And personally, I wanna see more. I haven't seen enough of the I want to see more stuff. Like this movie's out in a couple months.
I was a little disappointed.
We've only seen
by
one
the
trailer. Yeah, the trailer was not that interesting.
It was a teaser though, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, how much of it, 90% of the audience is going to see it regardless. So I think it's like if you're enticed by the 70mm, if you're enticed by, Marconi doing the music, if you're enticed by the things that he's been leaking, you're going to see it regardless. But if it's a weak story, none of that stuff's going to matter.
And like the one thing that bothers me the most is that there's the Tim Roth character in the trailer who's like this bearded guy. You could tell he's like the foreigner of the group, like the Englishman, and you could tell he's playing a Christoph Waltzy kind of character. And I'm worried that it's like, okay, that was supposed to be Christoph Waltz. And the Christoph Waltz, and he was in the James Bond film. And I'm like, all right, I'll get Tim Roth. And it's like, well, that guy still looks like the guy from Django. And he's probably going to start talking like the guy from Django. And I think this is, the fact that they're going to be in just one room is probably going to be where people have the complaints about dialogue with Tarantino, where it just keeps going and never really stops.
Yeah.
I think this is the first movie that potentially he'll kind of be exposed for it.
Well, because it might be the only scenario he's going to be. I mean, I assume there's going to be other locations. But if most of the movie takes place in one room, you do run that risk.
And you have like outside of Christoph Waltz, you have Sam Jackson in there, and you have Michael Madsen in there. You have all these guys, and especially Tim Roth, where you have all these guys he's worked with before that know how to use his dialogue. It's almost going to be like, I'm afraid that it's going to be a comedy of Tarantino stuff, where it's just like, motherfucker, and then on the other side was just like, hey, honey bunny, or then all of a sudden you get like somebody else like Michael Madsen just like, blah, 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 blah. And
I don't know.
Ah, no.
I think the quote unquote prisoner, the girl that is sort of trapped.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I think her character could be the crux of the entire room.
I hope so.
So I have faith in him being able to pull it off, but I can see where your problem is.
All right, so now that we have our most hyped, what's next?
What do you guys think is the biggest sleeper of the season?
That is an excellent
that could sneak
question.
into maybe get Best Picture. That's a good one.
Are we talking about Best Picture here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think and I know what you're gonna pick, JP. So I'm gonna let you talk about it. My sleeper is gonna be In the Heart of the Sea, Ron Howard's film with Chris Hemsworth. And the reason I say so is because this movie was supposed to come out late last year.
Yeah.
Like just missing, I think, the Oscar season. Or earlier this year, It was like around January, February. Then the studio chose to move the date to Oscar season for this season.
Right.
And I think that's a bold move to make. I know studios do that all the time, but with a big budget movie like this, because it is big budget, it's very ballsy, especially since Ron Howard hasn't really had a mega hit critically or box office wise in a long while. I thought though his last movie, Rush, was terrific. I loved it, and that's why he's working.
People who saw it liked it.
I really liked it.
Not a lot of people did see it. Right?
I really liked that movie, and you could tell that he worked with Chris Hemsworth very well because Chris Hemsworth shined in that movie, and the fact that he cast him again, and you have him in this pretty much like the Moby Dick inspired story, right?
Exactly.
The fact that they're going up against this massive beast, and it's Chris Hemsworth. I think that's very interesting to me. I think it's like the biggest like Hail Mary of all the movies that are in here.
I think it definitely is. I think it's one of those movies that like the themes are so enticing, and it looks like visually the film looks beautiful. So I think they could pair really well together. If you believe in Hemsworth as the leading,
I think he can. I think he's one of even though he's in a lot of stuff now, he's starting to come out more stuff. He's gonna be in the next Ghostbusters movie with the chicks.
It's a good choice in his career.
I think he's very underrated as an actor. I think in Rush he really showed that he could hold the screen, and not only that, but be by far the best actor coming out of the Avengers core since Mark Ruffalo.
He does demand a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's charisma or if it's just a physical presence on frame. It's just
he has a great command of his voice. He has a great he doesn't use his looks, and that's the thing. Like a guy like that would probably go Chris Hemsworth style, where he's just like, oh, look at me. Not Chris Hemsworth. I mean, Chris Evans. My bad.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, Chris Evans. Where he's
so
just
many
like,
Chris's.
like all the damn Chris's. where he's like, look at me, I'm handsome. Yeah, you know, just look at me. I don't need to say words.
Yeah.
But like he actually makes the most of his dialogue. And he's very, I guess, old-fashioned in that sense.
Yeah, and you shouldn't hold his looks against him.
Yeah, so I'm excited. That comes out December 11th, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's just before Star Wars, so I'm like, I sneak in one movie before Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be mentally prepared for Star Wars. My sleeper is actually going to be Spotlight.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I went with Spotlight, and it's a trailer I actually just checked out before the show started. So for me, it's a big sleeper. I had no idea what it was. I love Tom McCarthy as a director.
Yeah.
He's an actor turned director. He's done like The Station Agent and The Visitor, a couple other films. Mm-hmm. He gets very little love, very small budget films, but like critics, he's like a critic darling. And I think he's in Sundance. He wins like so many things every time he's there. But Spotlight has one of the biggest and most ambitious casts he's had a part in acting and working with. Mark Ruffalo, we've got Rachel McAdams. I mean, you have Stanley Tucci. Forgive me for any other names I'm forgetting. Michael Keaton had a couple good lines in the trailer. But it's about the Boston Globe investigation into the Archdiocese and the molestation charges of it was like 2003, 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah, it's around
about 10,
that
15
time.
years ago.
Yeah.
So that story is really compelling. I love those procedural news, all President's Men kind of thing. So I'm really, really excited.
It's very
about
70s like you mentioned it before the show. It seems like a movie that you would see Robert Redford in the 70s.
It's very Dustin Hoffman. And it's shot. It seems to be shot very simply and kind of just lets the story be told, which I love when dialogue just gets a chance to breathe.
That's an exciting. I completely forgot about when we put the list together today for our most anticipated. JP Lee was like, "Hey, what about this movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen the trailer for that." And then all of a sudden, we saw the trailer. I'm like, putting it on the list.
Yeah, our jaws dropped. We're like, okay,
that one
we
was
missed
really,
that one.
really good. That one could definitely be, since it's an awesome. Like, I notice now that a lot of these single, like, if there's one actor carrying a movie, a lot of times, unless it's like one of those, when it's one of those like Daniel Day-Lewis movies, unless it's Daniel Day-Lewis, it never really wins Best Picture. So this is an ensemble movie where not one actor is necessarily like the best of all time. But when you get all those dudes, like I was saying, like it's like the B Team All Stars.
It sounds really
It looks really good.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
I do like. Yeah, you're right. When you see all the names, and that's what the poster does. You see all the names sort of like taking top billing, and it's like, all right, I can go with this. Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan, do you have one?
I think I'm gonna go with Macbeth, even though I don't know too much about.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, and it's good that you just kind of teed it because I don't know which role Michael Fassbender is going to get nominated for Best Actor because he has so many things going for him this year. But
if he's able to work, like the director is Justin Kurzel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I looked this up. I don't know anything about it.
He's an up-and-coming guy.
I know he's an up-and-coming guy. Another guy who really takes his work seriously.
He's doing Assassin's Creed.
He's doing Assassin's Creed. That's the thing. Like, after working...
is at an all-time high.
Yeah, like, after working on that movie, they were like, we're doing Assassin's Creed with you. It's like...
If he's able to lead, like, Marion Cotillard and Fassbender and just, like, kill it in every scene, like... That would be an awesome movie.
And we watched a 4 or 5 minute little documentary Adrian and I did about this film and
during work, and
just splitting our time.
Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed from it that I thought was really interesting was that Fassbender had so many nice things to say about the director in terms of like how he motivated the character, talking about how Macbeth had PTSD, which is like a side of the character no one had ever thought of before. And for someone who I respect Fassbender as an actor to say like, this young director had the gall to tell Fassbender, like, this is where your character should go. Yeah. And it worked. Like, that, to me, it seems like he's going to be, like, a really big name in, like, 5 years. So I'm excited about that.
I really hope this is, like, a hit. Because, like, I thought for a second, I completely forgot you were going to go with Spotlight.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go with Macbeth. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, no,
because
absolutely.
This movie looks beautiful.
Oh,
but
it looks
like a Rembrandt painting. It's ridiculous how they use light in those shots. So I think all three are actually really good front runners for Best Picture. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And speaking about sleepers, what do you think the best movie that has a chance of winning the Oscar that is basically asleep now? Like it came out pre-October.
Okay, I like the way you said that. Sort of like the Grand Budapest Hotel of this year.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. Why don't you go first, Adrian? Because I have a few.
And like there's an interesting list here. Like I was writing down a bunch of like examples. Like Ex Machina may do it.
True.
Like Sicario recently I fell in love with. There was this. There was also a very small indie movie that's been picking up a lot of steam. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I heard is a terrific movie. And obviously you can't forget Mad Max Fury Road. Technically, from a production perspective and from a director's perspective. Let's not forget how awesome that really was of a job that was.
I would love that movie once.
That being said, of all of those, I think the one that has the best shot
He's probably gonna pick mine.
is Inside Out.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
Completely agree.
Mainly because like I feel like maybe some of the like people who watch the Oscars and watch movies, they kind of want like a fun pick. They kind of want like an Argo pick. Like they had 12 Years a Slave, and then they had Birdman, like the weird artistic movie.
True.
And I feel like Inside Out would be a good just like.
And I think it's the biggest conceptual chance that Pixar is taking creatively. Yeah. So I think the Oscars and I think the committees love that kind of stuff. I think the Golden Globes love that kind of thing too.
Not for the fact that it got an 8.5 on IMDb, a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Holy
and a
crap.
94 on Metacritic.
That's hard.
So
especially
think
think about how long it's already been seen by everybody.
Yeah.
And it still holds that score. Like that has something to say. Like that's very interesting.
The themes that movie covers sticks with you.
It's very complex.
It's still in my. If it's not my favorite movie of the year, still it's in my top 3 after 4 months from seeing.
When you start peeling back layer after layer of like what they tried to do with the film, not just from like a referential standpoint, it was just from like when it dealt with each emotion individually, and how that affects a child, and how that affects how you grow up, and then like how it affects your memories, how you choose to view your memories. Like from that perspective alone, I thought it was just a beautiful movie. Like there are very few movies that have come out this year that have had that much, I guess, density when it comes to what it wanted to address.
And it's essentially a kids movie. When honestly though, when you watch it, it's not a kids movie. That movie is just made with enough colors and stuff to kind of distract children, and the story works well enough for kids. That movie was made for the adults, without a doubt.
What about you guys? Like, I know since you went Inside Out, or like, was that unanimous around the table that Inside Out was like the best movie that has a chance to maybe make some noise pre-October?
I mean, I think without a doubt, it's definitely the best front runner in that category. I think a few other, not best picture categories, but I think The Gift could get some writing love. I think
that's true.
I think even if we're talking about a general award season, I think Golden Globes gives you a chance to do 10 films in 2 different categories a lot of the time. So I think The Gift could be best original screenplay. Like I think it could go in a different direction with that. But Inside Out is just incredible. Like
dude, it's like the exact opposite of Fantastic Four. It's the exact opposite of Fantastic Four.
I feel like you try to bring that stupid film in at least one reference.
Every time.
It's like that
Fantastic
and Alan
Four. Fantastic Four. No, all right. So now, So now we get to the fun part. This is where we started predicting the awards.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna start off first, obviously, with the actors, then move on to directors, and then best movie, and then, let's talk cinematography, too, because we love that shit.
Yep.
All right, so first, in order, what do we predict will be the best supporting actress?
Actress. Okay.
And this is the thing, like, we still, there's a lot of movies we have not seen that obviously haven't come out yet, but we're just predicting, like, what we think that will be.
I think, I'm going to go first just because I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first real quick.
Okay.
If they bill her as supporting,
yes,
I think Marion Cotillard could win for Lady Macbeth.
Ooh.
Because the moment I didn't know she was in the film, and the moment I saw her in the featurette, her face popped up. I was like, oh, she's the perfect actress for this because she's like perfect in terms of like she's powerful, she's a screen presence, and she kind of scares the crap out of me sometimes just in her physical presence. So I think she could very well be the best supporting actress. I'm sure there are other people there, but that's my first guess.
I thought a lot about this one, and like because supporting actress is harder to pick than necessarily best actress, because obviously the role is kind of like you have to say, all right, is it going to be that actress from this movie? Does she really support the actress, or does she transcend that? To me, I think the best actress performance period was Alicia Vikander from Ex Machina.
Ooh.
Like her performance as the robot in Ex Machina, cyborg, whatever you want to call her, was so good that I've never seen her in anything before. I saw her in that movie. I literally looked up everything that she's done. I went to see Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I was more excited because of that movie because she was in it.
Wow. That performance is so subtle. I hope it doesn't get lost in the shuffle because, like, it just being that like reserved as a quote unquote like robotic character, but still being sort of off-putting and like she's a little creepy, but she's also very sexy in a weird way. Yeah. Like I don't know, you're right, but I have a feeling
I don't think that
it's not gonna. I just have a feeling they're not gonna notice it enough.
Okay.
Do you have one?
Oh, I can't vote because I'm an actual Oscar
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had a ballot.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I would pick Charlize Theron.
I'm so glad you said that because right after I said
would you
mine,
consider her supporting though? That was my question.
I know that's a hard question.
Yes, because
no.
I say yes just because of the overall concept of the film.
Okay.
But then again, if you think about it, Tom Hardy's a supporting character, so that's what I like about the movie is I really don't know who's in charge, and that's kind of why the movie works.
Yeah. Okay.
But if they're gonna bill her as supporting, she better be in there.
Okay. All right. So. All right. You want to go that way? All right.
I like these. Keep going.
All right. So next, we're gonna go to best supporting actor.
This is so hard. I'm like, I haven't seen any of the movies.
I know.
You've been with us.
No, but these 15 movies that haven't came out.
Okay. All right. I'll more than comfortable to say best supporting actor. I think Tom Hardy will win best supporting actor in The Revenant. That because we haven't seen him play a villain, and he kind of plays a villain in this one based on the trailer.
Bane's not a villain?
No. But I mean, like, no, we haven't, like, aside from Bane, like, he's only been a villain maybe twice. Bronson is technically a hero, not necessarily a villain.
True, but it's a blurred line.
But he plays like a guy that leaves Leonardo DiCaprio to die and kills his kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't.
Whoa.
And you can't. For me, like, that performance is going to be very important because that's what creates the conflict in the film. Mm-hmm. So, and I think if this movie's as good as it's projected to be, that he needs to have the best performance. Not DiCaprio. He needs to have the best performance. You have to hate him.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it's as good as it's supposed to be, it means Tom Hardy knocked it out of the park.
And as gritty and real as it's like gonna be.
And he has a beard, man.
Beard?
Like best beard.
Okay.
Thomas Hardy.
I do have I do have Tom Hardy in my list.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and say that I would rather see Benicio del Toro win for Sicario because of how subtle and
that was my favorite. Well, one of my favorites.
So yeah, if anyone hasn't seen this film yet, go see it because it's incredible, just all around as a film. But the things that they choose to do with his character and the way they shoot him and the way they let him linger on frame, and he essentially looks like he's doing nothing.
Yeah.
But when you start to understand what's going on in his mind, I want to see the film again just because of understanding where he went as a character. I want to see what he's. You can almost envision just every wrinkle on his face and every movement of. It's such a subtle performance. But such a badass performance.
He was great.
It's
like
awesome.
you know, if you guys listen to our review, that is gonna be online.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out because I rave about this guy. His performance is
Without a
so
doubt.
good, and I think he's the perfect version of what Johnny Depp wishes he was.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I'm gonna go with. I don't know. I think from the trailer that I recently saw of Creed, I could see maybe Sylvester Stallone winning it, kind of pulling like a Hillary swing.
I can see that
because like there's a scene where he's in like a hospital bed.
there's a bit of a dramatic.
And I recently looked him up, and he was nominated for Rocky, never won.
That is true.
And he was nominated for writing, which he should have won, and he never won.
That's a good point.
Rocky.
So it could be
He
like
did
the
win Best Picture.
Scorsese lifetime achievement thing.
But yeah, no, I completely agree.
He wrote the whole thing too.
Yeah.
But for him to get individual recognition would be kind of cool.
That would be awesome.
Film, if you guys haven't seen the new trailer for that, check it out because it's incredible. Yeah, that's actually a really good pick.
And you know Stallone didn't direct Rocky, right?
No, I know that. Yeah. All right, so now that we have the best supporting actors and actresses out of the way, we're going to the heavyweights now. Who is your pick for best actress of the 2015-2016 movie season?
All right, give me a second because I hadn't written mine down yet.
All right, I could go. I'm ready to go.
Do
now. I have not seen the movie, but I think Olivia Cooke from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
Okay.
Because of how well received it was, and how people raved that she was the emotional core of the movie. This is the thing, like, you could have a good indie movie and be like, oh yeah, that was really good, you should check that out. It's another thing to say, this movie was amazing because this dying girl was that amazing.
Dying.
Yeah.
She was dying so hard. Right next to Bruce Willis. That's the thing, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie, but from what I have read and from what I have heard from other people, that she is amazing, and this is why she's good. Like in talks to star in Star Wars, she's gonna be in Ready Player One with Steven Spielberg.
Oh wow!
She is now on the map because of this movie. So
and they probably saw her performance.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So I think she's probably gonna win Best Actress this year because of that film.
You go ahead, Jen.
I'm looking at my list of kind of front runners from some of the websites that have, and not to use these as a crutch, but I haven't seen a lot of these films. I mean, my sleeper pick would be Emily Blunt in Sicario, but I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because there's some point in the film where she becomes such a supporting character that I don't think they're going to give her enough recognition for that. But she's very important in that movie, and her performance is very...
perfect.
It's perfect because she's so vulnerable in it. I think I've seen the trailer for Cate Blanchett's performance in Carol.
Yeah.
That looks pretty intense. I know it's obvious to say Cate Blanchett because that's just kind of her
Yeah, it's like
be nominated every year.
She's like the English
she's the Meryl Streep of the last 10 years, for sure. So I feel like that would be an obvious choice, but and then there's always the chance that Jennifer Lawrence could win.
Damn it, that was mine.
So why don't you jump?
Why
don't you jump?
No, take it.
Just jump to it. I'm not going to take it. Jump to it. Jump
I have
to
a
it.
different one. No.
Ooh, do you really?
Okay.
But I do love Jennifer Lawrence's performances in David O. Russell films.
Every single one.
I know there's been some contention. I know Adrian doesn't love David O. Russell films, but I feel like
they would make great stage plays. I'm not hating on it.
And so would a lot of Tarantino stuff as well.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't
no
so
doubt.
pomp and circumstance.
Okay, we're getting off track.
All right, sorry. So do your backup. I'm sorry I stole Joy.
I'm just gonna go do a double back-to-back. I'm gonna go Julianne Moore.
Ooh.
And then Best Actor, I'm gonna go Eddie Redmayne.
Oh.
Wait, you're just
He's
skipping
gonna
right
jump
ahead.
right into it.
Because I knew that was our next category.
Okay,
yeah,
So I'm gonna go Eddie Redmayne.
We're going
Julianne
to
Moore.
Best Actor.
Back to back.
All right, so his pick for his sneak-in pick for Best Actress is Julianne Moore, and which movie is she in?
I forget the name of it.
I think it's Freeheld.
Freeheld.
That's the one, yeah, Freeheld. That just recently came out, should be expanding soon.
Yep.
But yeah, we're in Best Actor now. So you go ahead, start off. You said Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl. Why?
I mean,
it's a timely performance. I think in this day and age,
especially
transgender,
this
LGBT,
year. Everything,
it's a very important performance.
Yeah, because he plays I believe he plays is it a cross dresser or does he play a transvestite?
I think it might be transgender. I'll look up the actual information about it.
I've saw we've all seen the trailer and it looks this is the thing whenever you have to go and become someone who's especially kind of like what Jared Leto did a couple years ago with the movie Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah, like that one. It's always gonna catch critics' eyes because oh wow, he went all the way for that.
I mean, he went all the way for the Stephen Hawking movie.
Yeah, that's true too. He does a very good physical performance. The joke is he says, "I hope that no director ever asks me to grow a beard because he can't grow a facial beard." But it's about an artist in the early 1900s who undergoes a sex change, which is revolutionary to do something.
And that's very relevant now. Yeah, because of everything that happened with Caitlyn Jenner and all that stuff. So it's very relevant now.
My only problem is that I don't love Tom Hooper, and I know that's kind of
is that the director?
Yeah, and he did Les Mis, he did
he was really good.
He did the King's Speech. No, he did, and he has a good rapport with him. Yeah. But I just feel like his style is very.
He's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, but at the same time very sterile. It's really weird. I can't ever get into his films. I always feel like I'm like, oh, I see what he's doing. There's the device. So that can take me out of that performance, but it won't be because of Redmayne. So that's a good choice. I like that.
All right, this is the thing. Everybody likes to assume that this is because of the hype of The Revenant. It's DiCaprio. That finally it's gonna happen.
This happens every year to him.
This is the thing. This is probably the most masculine role I've ever seen him in. Looking back on it, maybe since The Departed and even Gangs of New York. And everybody's seeing he's working with this director that just won an Oscar. He's against Tom Hardy, so he's gonna get best in front of him. And so it's now he's gonna get the best inside of him. Mm-hmm. But I think he's gonna lose. I don't think he wins. I think the person that wins and comes out of freaking nowhere, Michael B. Jordan in Creed, will win Best Actor.
I don't see that happening, but I could see him getting nominated.
I think, and the reason I think he will win is because it doesn't look like just a boxing movie. This isn't Southpaw. This is not what I know. I had to bring it up again, but I think when you see the trailers, and I'm so excited for this film, when you see the trailer and you see it's just the ring only plays a part of it, and that's what was great about the original Rocky movies, and they're tying that in together.
Yep.
It's I have a dad that I never met. He was one of the greatest fighters of all time. And the guy who's training me used to be his enemy and his best friend.
Mm-hmm. Do I want to carry the weight of my dad's name?
There's a lot of really good themes.
There's more than that. That's the thing. And that's the thing. And the guy who's directing it, he worked with on Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, true.
So you're gonna get good performance. This is a guy that knows how to direct Michael B. Jordan, but also knows how to direct great drama because that movie was terrific.
Absolutely.
So I think if there's an upset, it's coming with Michael B. Jordan.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I wouldn't mind him being nominated. And I reserve judgment. If I see the film and I'm just falling apart in tears and love the triumph of it, I definitely would change.
Heavy movie, man.
The trailer
could
looks so
be nominated for Best Picture. The trailer.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It could. I hope it does because it's been a while since we've seen a sports movie really come up out of nowhere. The Fighter, yeah.
But that's boxing's such an afterthought in that movie to me. I don't know. I think for me, Okay, so in terms of people I want nominated, I really would like to see Bryan Cranston nominated for Trumbo, because I saw the trailer and it just seems so like, I just like the over the top 1940s Howard Hawkish vibe he gets from that performance.
Seems so Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, but like he can do anything, so like it seems like he could just be sitting still and it'd be like, oh, that's so Bryan Cranston. So I love the idea of that performance.
He looks like it'll be a fun performance. It's like a lot of times we always think of like performances being dark, going into a dark place.
Especially being blacklisted in Hollywood too. It's such a dark time in our culture. But it seems like
it looks positive, I guess, a positive way to look at a negative time.
Somewhat humorous in some tone.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to that performance. But for me, I think it's gonna be Michael Fassbender and Steve Jobs.
You have to say
really.
That.
I think it's gonna be, and
he came out today with who his inspiration was for the
role. Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher.
I think that's a really strong role.
A little bit of a douche move on his part to say that, but because I was more struggling with the DiCaprio versus Fassbender, and then once I took DiCaprio out of the picture, I was like, is it Fassbender in Macbeth or Fassbender in Steve Jobs? And I think just the dialogue of Aaron Sorkin and the way that he's going to have to play 3 different acts of this same person.
He's never had dialogue like that since Tarantino.
True. And the fact that this character, I would say character because obviously it's an interpretation of Steve Jobs, is so easy to mess up that I feel like he's going to do a really good job with it, and that gives him enough credibility to launch him higher. So I think it's going to be Michael Fassbender specifically in Steve Jobs.
Cool.
So.
Alrighty, so now, before we get to the biggest category of them all, we're going to get to the guy who orchestrates the damn thing.
Yes.
Who is your pick for Best Director this year? This is a heavy one because you look at a lot of... all being said, even though this was a great box office year, there haven't been that many clear-cut, amazing movies.
There's a lot
We're just getting into it. Yeah, we're just getting into it. Personally, I think the best director this year, and I don't even think it's close.
Damn.
George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
With everything that went into that movie, technically, from the fact that it was an 8-month shoot, and he ended up coming out of it with an amazing movie. Because not only, and when I say 8 months shoot, it's like, oh well, it was 8-month shoots. No. Yeah. He had to go back for reshoots because things didn't work and he had to rework things. A lot of times that means, oh man, I have to compromise. No. He made it better. He made it so much better. And he got performances. And this is the thing, he made a Mad Max movie where Mad Max didn't matter, in my opinion.
Which is so weird.
And it worked. And it was intentional.
No one was upset about it.
Like, it takes it takes a lot of balls to take a character that you made and made iconic and make him a side character. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a tip of the hat to him. It makes an awesome movie. I hope he wins. I really do, because it was an awesome movie. And it's because of him. And Charlize Theron.
You know, the risk, I think, is in him being in the category, is that I think his votes will be split between himself and Iñárritu.
Yeah. Because
they're both such technical achievers. Like, the two of them, I mean, obviously they're both very creative and artistic films, but it's all about what they accomplished on set and how they did so with practical effects. Yeah. That I think that the people who appreciate that are going to be split in either direction, and I think the person who's going to come out on top is Danny Boyle.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think Danny Boyle's going to come out on top of it because I don't think he's ever had a writer this good. Yeah. Like, no offense to the writers he's worked with in the past, but to me, like, I still think one of his best movies is Trainspotting, and that's when he had the most ridiculous dialogue and just he could pick whatever tempo he wanted because of just the sheer subject matter, and I think he's doing the same with Steve Jobs. And I just call me I'm a big Sorkin fan. And,
no, yeah,
we're
fans of dialogue. No,
but I think he really could with 180 pages of dialogue. I'm really excited to see what he does with it, and I feel like he's the kind of person that has to be told to slow down. When you watch Slumdog, it's just visually attacks you. I think he's going to do wonders with this, and I've heard really good things about this film so far, so nice. I'm going Danny Boyle.
My director is the guy who has previously directed Talladega Nights.
Oh!
Step Brothers.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so his name is Adam McKay.
Yes.
I have no idea how this movie's going to be, honestly.
We're
by director, you have to direct your actors and actresses, right?
Yes.
So he is going to have to direct Melissa Leo, who is kind of a hothead.
Rumor has it she's an interesting figure on camera.
Steve Carell, Marissa Tomei, another big attitude individual.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, Selena Gomez, Christian Bale and Brad Pitt.
I would never want to work with any of those.
That just seems like such a weird combination of people. That you're right. He could just do like a David. It feels like a David O. Russell movie.
It's cast like a David O. Russell movie.
It is.
And I'm curious to see like do you think he'll be able to manage those personalities in that movie?
He is, then he should probably win Best Director.
Just because it comes out of nowhere and
Yes.
least expected.
No, that's a fact too. Like you can have
choice.
there's a lot of directors where you cast all these great people and it's like at the end of the day it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes directing doesn't just mean visually. Can you get the performances together from these guys who are so ego heavy?
And they have their own style.
They all want the screen time. They all want this. That.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, they're screaming at each other in the trailer. Like every time everyone's on camera, you're like, "Oh, it's that guy! Oh, it's that guy!"
Yeah.
So I hope he can blend that because the trailer was very distracting.
All right, we've made it.
Woo!
We made it to the most important category of them all. Best Picture. What is your pick for Best Picture at the Academy Awards for the 2015-2016 season?
I'm going Steve Jobs.
You're going Steve Jobs.
Only because, what did you say they're shooting in what are the three different
16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, and then in digital.
Yeah.
And then if
Which
they just
is
take
awesome.
3 acts and do 3 chunks of his lifetime. And
they're not even just doing 3 chunks of his lifetime. They're just doing 3 product launches. And it's the backstage and the dialogue and the drama.
They'll probably have a couple flashbacks, maybe.
Maybe, but like literally it takes place basically behind the stage. Like those are the things that happen.
A simple, perfect idea.
Oh, it was so hard to execute.
Just like
Aaron
Apple.
Sorkin.
Like, it's just like Apple.
Exactly. Okay, so I want it to be Inside Out, but it's not, I don't think it's going to win. But the irony is that that's a Pixar film, and I'm going to go with the guy who helped get Pixar off the ground. I'm going to go with Steve Jobs as well.
Really?
Oh, double
I am.
Steve Jobs.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I don't know if I necessarily want that because there's so many other films that are really, really solid potentially.
Yeah.
I just think that there are too many great things going into this film. We haven't even talked about Kate Winslet. It could be Best Supporting Actress,
She
and
could.
no one's even talked about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Or Seth Rogen for Best Supporting.
That's true. Like there's a lot of
Completely
there's
random.
great.
So I'm going Steve Jobs.
I'm gonna go with the pick that you just dropped. I'm
You're
going
Inside Out?
Inside Out. I think
Good
will win
stuff.
Best Picture. I think, like I said before, it's
a perfect movie.
such a dense movie, but it's also a very feel-goodish movie, and the Academy loves that stuff. They will. I'm not saying Steve Jobs isn't going to win.
No, but
all these films have an equal chance of winning, but I think Inside Out, for what it brought to the table and executed and made you feel at the end of the movie, was one of the best film experiences you could ever experience.
It like breaks your heart but leaves you with a smile on your face, which
Yeah.
is so weird, and I love when films do that because
Yes.
it's impossible to pull off.
Can a cartoon ever win, like, Best Supporting?
No,
they don't
voice
have that
actresses,
category.
no.
Bing Bong could, like, kill it.
Bing Bong is probably my favorite character
yeah.
next to Furiosa this summer.
As an ending question,
Yes.
Okay.
do you guys think that Star Wars could ever win Best Movie?
I don't. And this is my opinion. As somebody that loves, obviously, we all love these films.
Of course.
But I think we live in an era now where it's like, if you're not only are you if you're a big budget movie, but also if you're a science fiction picture that also deals with fantasy.
It's hard. It's an uphill battle.
I think they do not have a
Because
chance.
the way JJ did the first Star Trek, I honestly think that should have been nominated for Best
I
Picture.
disagree.
Okay,
but I
so
love it.
now I'm going to jump in with what I was going to say because his response gives me a perfect avenue. I'm pretty sure that Adrian's discussion about Star Wars not being nominated was veiled in the fact that he doesn't like J.J. Abrams. And he's smiling right now because I know it's true.
No.
So I honestly think that this film could be nominated because of the Dark Knight factor. In that, even if it makes a gazillion dollars,
Kind of
if
the
it's a
reason they
good film,
expanded the
it's
field
the
to
only
10.
reason why they expanded it. So if it's gonna get, if it's as good as it could be, I don't see why it couldn't be nominated. I don't think it'll ever win.
This is the thing. Like, I wish we lived in a world where people didn't look down at movies like that because they could make a bajillion dollars. Mm-hmm. $1 million is like nothing. I just realized now. If they could make $1 billion, but a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's that big budget movie." No, thank you.
Yeah, it's the
like
critic
people.
sense of, like, ugh.
Like it's the way people look at Mad Max. Like any person that hasn't seen it is like, "Oh, that's that movie with the explosions and Tom
And it
Hardy."
has to tell too big of a story to really get the like people like element into the movie.
It's true. If you're too broad, then you run the risk of.
Like there's plenty of movies like if Prometheus was executed a little bit better, I thought had enough weight to be considered.
Wow.
Dark Knight. In my
so many
opinion,
flaws, though.
it's like Dark Knight had a ton of flaws too. That being
It
said,
just had
it
logic
was
flaws.
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like everybody will always point to that one year where it was like, Yeah, but The Dark Knight should have gotten. That's why, like, after The Dark Knight did not get nominated.
That's why they expanded.
That's why, like, for instance, like what Jonathan just said, The Dark Knight effect.
Yeah.
Now that there's 10 nominees, it's like District 9 got nominated the year after.
Mm-hmm.
Like District 9, excellent movie. I'm glad it got nominated. I love sci-fi.
It wasn't gonna win.
That had zero chance of winning.
No. Yeah.
But that being said, yeah, I don't think I don't think it'll ever win.
It would be cool. It would be cool too, but yeah.
Just for the sake of asking, what do you think will win Best Cinematography?
I think it's gonna be. I want it to be Macbeth, honestly.
Yeah.
But I want Deakins to win too. For
I think Sicario will win.
Do you know he's been nominated 12 times and has never won?
Jeez.
So it's embarrassing.
Including Oh Brother, We're Out Thou. He did not win that year because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out the same year.
For cinematography?
Yeah, the movie's gorgeous.
It's terrific.
You know, but I want him to win just as a lifetime achievement.
I hope so, man. But yeah, that's all that we have. I can't wait to watch these movies. I cannot wait.
It starts this week.
It starts this week. Steve Jobs.
My cinematography pick, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
just
Four.
throw that in.
Look,
And
the
on
movie
that note-
was shit, but it looked like shit. Yes.
On that note, for Exit Only Theater, I'm JP Leigh.
I am Adrian.
And special guest?
Juan Pescador.
Yeah, that is technically your name.
John Fisher.
Yeah, look at that.
Yes.
See? We're Exit Only Theater. Tune in next week, and we'll see you when the credits roll.
Peace.